here on lichess subscriber analysis stream. This is my way of giving back to our subscribers on lichess. All right. Send it in. Send it in, guys. What's up? A little bit of a late start. I had a bit of a technical difficulty with my Ponda cam. Ponda cam was down, and I've had really strange internet lag all afternoon. I hope that's not going to be continuing. My ping was up in the 800s on and off, so I'm crossing my fingers for the sake of the stream here. Hello, welcome everyone. My name is International Master.
Yes.
What's up? So, I've got analysis games submitted by a number of the subscribers here. Please subscribe and support the stream, guys. Ilya Smirn, like Ilya Smirn was good as well, as if he's senior. Snuggles the snail. What's up, Snuggles? Good to see you. We've got a number of viewers in the chat here. Welcome, everybody. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games submitted so far from the following players: Isamil, Yabadis, Sada, Warnaki, Princess, Acer, Muleskinner, and most recently Sumahair. Did I miss you? I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. I care. Let me know if I left you guys out. Don't talk about Ilya Smirn in the past tense. Prem K666. I think he would be hurt by that. He's one of my Facebook friends, but he rarely uses Facebook. Alright. Can you submit? Yes, you can. You're a subscriber to the stream. You're welcome. Nobody wants to be remembered in the past tense while they're still an active player. Alright. So, subscriber stream, game analysis, Princess Chess, what's up? BG, former subscriber, welcome. Okay, so the first game I've got is Samil. Wow, Fortuna Chess Coach is here too. How to submit? Mr. Prem K666, send me a message to my Sparkle Horse account. Send a personal message. No hate mail, please. You got your first vaccination today? Wow. How do you qualify for vaccination? I just noticed that in Massachusetts, people who are like 65 plus with 2 comorbidities have just been allowed to get their vaccinations. I guess it really, really depends on what state you live in. A friend of mine around the same age as me got a vaccination in Kansas. So, congratulations, Princess Chess. You're one of the first people. So work. Actually, my friend who got vaccinated in Kansas is like former military. Wonder if it's a conspiracy. Just the military and former military allowed to get vaccinations first. Not fair. Alright. But I'm living in Hungary, so that's not going to matter for me. So, we've got 8, 9 games already. Warnaki, he said it's a shame Geller not actually got to be as huge as his potential. Well, I mean, he was one of the top players in the world. I mean, I don't know what his personal best was, but it was definitely up there. I'm not sure about his record in like candidates matches and stuff like that. I don't remember specifically. I think other players like Spassky kind of got in the way. All right, let's get started. Isomil banana oil, whatever he is. Guys, we're doing serious analysis of games today. Fortuna Chess Coach, good to see you. He was close to being candidate. You mean he was close to like qualifying for the World Championship, in other words. He was only a candidate twice. I'm really like clueless about who was candidate how many times and stuff like that. Candidates matches were kind of winding down when I started getting into chess in the late 80s. I can't even remember. I can't really even remember the late 80s, early 90s well. Alright, too much drugs in the 70s. I don't know. I'm not that old. I'm just kidding. Alright, anyway. I still have no excuse for my poor memory. Let's get started with interzonals. We're cool. Okay, interzonals were a tournament. It was a way of qualifying for the candidates matches. I am confused. I need to go to inbox, and we need to check Isomil. ISO. Okay. How about this one? I don't think I played the ending that well. What's the strategy to win this type of position? Thanks. I don't think Isomil is in here. Alright, we're going to take a look at this. Yoba versus banana oil. Yoba. No relation to Yoda. Speaking of King's Indian, black plays the modern defense. d4, g6, c4, bishop g7, knight c3. You know what I would play here, folks. I was trained by a Russian bear. He's actually not Russian. He was Georgian. They had only a few GMs in FIDE in the 60s. I wasn't trained by a tiger, I was trained by a bear. How to play this position. Normally I play the King's Indian. Roman has really fat fingers. d4, c5. Do bears have fat fingers? So, I mean, like, okay, the normal move is d6. You're going to get a lot of transmissions to the King's Indian here. Don't play f5, though. I like c5, playing the Gingy Indian, though you can just play a normal Benoni if you want to. That's not for everybody's. Someone, I think, Zen Chess said it was a some people are offended by this move, you know? But I think that it's Nimzovician in principle. Roman was very big on Nimzovich, stylistically. Alright, so Isomil plays knight f6. We're going to play a King's Indian. I'm not going to get into details of why he plays the move order he does. I don't see a particular reason for it. Why are you playing d4, g6, c4, bishop g7, knight c3, knight f6? Why don't you just play d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7? Normally when people play the modern defense, they're looking for some kind of reason, you know. He could have just played the King's Indian. Okay. Whatever. E4. D6. I was saying to someone today, you see, the thing is the King's Indian is good at the lower levels, but harder to play at the highest levels. White space advantage in the center. You can also play c6 against many things there. Yes. You can still play... Yeah, that's what Winkovich did against me. He was the first person... He was the first person who did that. He played castles, knight f3, c6, and I was confused. The game is in the database. One of the games I lost against Alec. He played like c6 and d5. This is a known system. It's not that great for black, but white has to kind of pay close attention to what they're doing. Yeah, you can do it. It's a good surprise weapon, but not that great objectively. Anyway, e4, d6. It's hard to play with a space advantage for weaker players. f3, same-ish system. Castles, bishop e3, c5. This gambit is good. This was the revelation of the early 90s. One of the King's Indian major discoveries. Extremely strong pawn sacrifice. So white might be better off not taking it. That's a whole nother story. Like, we could do hours of analysis explaining why this pawn sacrifice is valid. It is. It's sound. Alright. So c5, knight on g to e2, knight c6. And now I think white should play queen d2, probably. I guess d5 is good. Take your pick. d5 or queen d2. Why he plays c5? Because it's best. You don't have to, Prem. But if you play like Kasparov had a candidates match. Not Kasparov. Karpov had a candidates match against... No, that doesn't make sense either. I'm trying to understand, how did Kasparov play Timon? I guess it wasn't a candidates match. They just had the... Just had a match with Timon, or... Why did Kasparov play Timon? Just in individual tournament games? I'm trying to remember now. I'm a little bit vague on it. Anyway, Kasparov had games with e5. e5, d5, this is old school. Like knight h5 and stuff. You can still play it. I used to play the queen sacrifice with queen h4. But trust me, like after years of playing this opening, c5 is black's most reliable system. This is best. d5, knight e5, knight g3. It's also possible to play knight c1. That's not as appealing. Now black plays a6. So, I'm not really familiar with this. I guess I played this position with black. I would have played e6. I shouldn't say I'm not familiar with it. I would have played this as well. I've played blitz games in this line. Knight e5, knight g3. I would play e6. Morozevich versus Morozevich. But anyway, instead he plays a6. So, if f4, the knight can go into g4. I guess it's not a problem. But white can play a4 here. If a4, queen a4. I mean, black has ideas to try to play something like a Benko with a6. I've never played this myself. If a4, it's not a modern Benoni yet, Spot. It can't be a modern Benoni until black actually plays e6 and he takes d5. And really not until black makes that exchange and white takes back with a c-pawn on d5. And we're still in King's Indian territory. But the transmission is likely. If a4, what do we do? If a4, queen a5, rook a3, Sarawan Nunn, 1986. This queen oftentimes gets trapped by trying to be overly aggressive. Yeah, I mean, I like e6. e6, bishop e2. Now it is a modern Benoni after ed-cd. Well, call it what you want. You know, it could be either. A King's Indian. This position can be reached by both. That's the standard position, which I played for both sides. So, anyways, a6 I'm not sure about. Maybe this is the idea, to play b5. I would probably play a4 with white, not to allow that. Is there some downside with a4? I mean, finding it hard to see where the downside is. Alexander Chernin versus Hebden, 1994. Not many games. Can we sack a pawn after this with b5? Speaking of the Benko. That looks kind of interesting. We must take, and then Wei must take again. I'm liking the top 4 games here. There's a game from 1982. That's why I want to play a4. How does Wei play now? Knight b5. Someone even played knight e8. That looks incredibly slow for black. Voldemir. Very few games, surprisingly. Bishop a6. Who played knight e8? That's the old game. What did Mark play? Queen a5 check. Hebby is a good King's Indian player. He's very knowledgeable. I trust him very much so with King's Indian. Queen d2. Bishop d7. a4. Something like rook fb8. Castles. And Stephen Gordon versus Hebden. It's a Benko, basically. Alright, that's one option. e6. Can we transpose back into normal lines? Is this a danger? Yes. I mean, normally I'm very concerned about f4 happening. Pickett versus Jeroen Piquet versus Judith Polgar 96. I'm a little bit worried about f4, being that I really don't have a clue what's happening here. Knight eg4. I've never seen this line before. Bishop g4, knight g4. Bishop g4, wait, what? There's rook e8. I'm sorry? Excuse me? That? What is that? That's messed up. Gaetano Ligeti versus Mario Filippo Kallio. I'll go out on a limb and guess this is a correspondence game from 2017. No. This can't be the game. This is a misprint. That doesn't work. A lot of games you can't trust this database. It hasn't been like properly edited and carefully put together. But it's free, you know? It's not chess based. There are some games with like entry errors. That's not possible. Someone did that, unless they were taking drugs. Knight takes g4, queen g4. Adrian versus Bologan. That's really cool. And then black has counterplay. Michal Chishin knows what he's doing here, though. This is not like blindly going into this. He must have carefully planned it. And Bologan played b5. Apparently it's better for white. Interesting line. But very, very irrational play arising from knight to g4. Wow. So that's essentially like indirectly defended by the threat of knight g4. I'm not sure though if you play that like really seriously in a long game, your opponent had time to prepare. If Isamil played Adrian Milchison in a tournament game, he might lose. Actually, Bologan might lose too if he's not lucky. But, alright. So knight g4 is not the game. We don't have f4. Anyways, a4 was played. Now we're going to transpose back to a modern Benoni. Bang, bang. Here we are. Normal position I've played for both sides. Most recently I had a game with black against Tote Erven a couple of years ago, where I played h5 in a similar game. I think it was different though. He already had his queen on d2. He played a different move order. I mean, I've also had games with Mr. Slow here on my stream. h5 is a standard idea. Castles, h4, maybe this. Knight h7, queen d2, h4, knight h1, f5, knight f2. This is like a typical continuation. So instead, he plays rook e8, castles, and now rook b8. I've actually used, I've played stuff with the astrobate maneuver. b6, rook a7, and try to get the rook across, but not really working here. I think these levers, it's not a good place to put the rook on a7 with the bishop on e3. The pawn levers could mess you up. So rook b8 looks reasonable. I would go with h5 and play for knight h7. It's kind of weird to see Gata playing the King's Indian there. Alright, rook b8. White could play a5 now. Queen d2 is a normal move. h3 is a normal move. h3 hoping for bishop d7, f4, which really wins a piece. Not sure what black should play here. Instead, his opponent played... No, he did play h3. And black played h5. And black has a bad score in this line. f4. So h3. Yeah, we don't really have time to get in the plan with h5, h4, knight h7, and f5. I think that black should play that instead of rook b8. It looks like it's our last chance to play it now. h5, queen d2, knight h7. White here even voluntarily playing knight h1. So I don't trust this rook b8. h3 looks pretty good. h5, now f4. So this looks weird. White has problems with the e-pawn though, and the possible tactics against the bishop on e3. I would honestly be scared with either side here. It's a sharp position, but I feel like the Benoni is harder to play for black. So I was expecting bishop f3. There are tactics based on the bishop being unprotected here. Like you might be able to sacrifice a piece temporarily, just to illustrate what I'm talking about. Uh-oh, our lag. So the lag waves are coming in sometimes. I hope this is not going to give me... problems with the stream. Please, guys, support the stream and subscribe. We've had one gift sub this week. Cheers from Mahar and Agnes Karadusky. But I really appreciate if you guys would support the stream and donate. Guys and girls, much appreciated. Maybe a donation via Streamlabs or PayPal. You can find the donation on the Twitch page. If you click on the panda, you can make a Streamlabs donation or the PayPal icon. Mr. Coffee, good to see you. Lurking there. I'm just illustrating the idea. I'm not saying to take e4 now. Prem. I just want to point out the idea. This tactic is in the position. Take an f5 with the idea of this this tactic being possible. Small donation. Warnaki, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if black is forced to do that. But he played bishop d3 instead. I don't know. I feel like this is a better square in a way, because it protects both pawns. But it would get in the way of the rook's play on the f-file. But it's interesting that in both games here, completely unrelated games from different years, white played e5. Ta-da! So the idea is that like white sacrifices a pawn, but he either gets back the c5 pawn, or alternatively he skewers the rooks on diagonal and wins the exchange. However, if it comes to that and white wins the exchange, I think he's going to have a lot of weaknesses on the dark squares. So in this type of position, like take here, just arguably, if we sacrifice the exchange in a position like this for black, black might have enough compensation based on the complex of weak dark squares. I'm not sure. You know, we would have to analyze this pretty deeply. Yeah, it's like 4 pawns attack. Sealer sweeper. Sanchez played this, which is called a sealer sweeper pawn sacrifice. His idea is to sack a pawn positionally and then try to use the e4 square. Black instead plays this, though. So I don't know what this is. I mean, it looks like it's okay for black. This is what happened. Take bishop g5. Huh. And a very powerful e4. I don't know if this is an over-the-board game or correspondence. If it's correspondence, it's basically a game by computers. It looks like it was probably a correspondence game. Black's in trouble. So e5 is quite strong. There's a lot of correspondence games in the database. So black's setup wasn't quite kosher. It looks like e5 is very strong. Is there something better? Can we play... There was no time to play h4. So he misses e5. Plays this. David Navarra in 2011 was already 2700. This is a better looking square. David Navarra lost to a 2400. That's a big upset. It looks like white is better. I guess black's going to play knight h5. Here. He played b5. So, Ismail's opponent played knight h1, which is taking forever to get back into the game. Now he played b5. Okay, how does this work? I mean, pawn takes pawn, knight takes, and the d6 pawn is hanging, but we have knight takes e4. I'm expecting knight takes b5, but this is strong. This is definitely strong now. It's a good trade. Powerful central pawn for that b pawn that just opens up a file for our rook. Now black is better. No question. So white tries to muddy the waters here with e5 now. It might be too late for that. Pawn takes, knight takes b5, yeah. I would be strongly tempted to play e4 to keep the lines closed, but he gets his pawn instead. This is better. White has no center anymore, and he's just threatening the bishop on e3, and that's crushing. So white is really messed up. His knight is on h1. He lost his center, and his only threat is like maybe knight to d6. And there's nothing here. So maybe he sacrifices an exchange. Actually, he's not even really sacrificing the exchange. Wow, I was expecting this. Apparently Queen E8 is even stronger according to the engine. I'd like to get an engine analysis on this game. Can we get an engine analysis? Queen E8, Queen E6, Bishop C5, Rook B2. Wow. So it's an overwhelming advantage for black. Almost winning. Probably winning. Black is totally safe. And white is hanging on by a thread. And now this. And everything's hanging. So, a lot of mistakes, but more mistakes for white. And black was pretty much dominating since after this move. Alright, I don't want to spend too much time. It was too complicated to go through much more deeply than that. Yabatis is up next. Guys, welcome to the stream. International Master William Pascal. We try to actually learn something here on my stream. Not playing bullet chess or doing puzzles. Those things you can do for your own entertainment. But we're trying to actually understand some concepts and really learn from these games. Submitted games from the subscribers. That was Isomil. This is Yabatis. What's up, everybody? What's new? Send me some love. Astrobate. Cheer 75k. Warnaki. Cheer 10k. Not in one cheer. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you did a 75k. Set the record. Anybody's going to set the record for the biggest donation ever? One day, it's going to happen. 21 viewers. All right. Yabatis is up. Is this the right game? Is Yabatis here? Yeah. Alright, this is it. Yabatis' favorite opening. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to submit a game, it's not the right game? Damn. That's the wrong game. I'm crazy. Why can't I go in my back browser? Oh. There goes the window. Sorry about that. We'll be right back after these messages. So, inbox. Is that back on the stream? All right, we gotta get a new box here. Get a new box. What am I doing? Help me, please. Please help me understand where I am again. There we go. Alright, we're back. So Yabatis confusing us with too many game submissions for too many weeks. He's totally confused me. Beauty. Yabatis, is it F5, F14? That's for next week. Are you even kidding me? It's in the last message. AK88. Thanks for making it easy. Appreciate that. Alright. AK88 versus Yabatis. How's our ping? Ping is good. Black. Welcome everybody to the stream. International Master William Pascal. We need your following. We're learning chess here, seriously. E4, C5, D4. This is not the Smith-Morra Gambit. Understand? Astrobate? This is not the Smith-Morra Gambit. Why? Because white hasn't played C3 yet. Duh. Hello, lichess Opening Explorer. It can't be the Smith-Morra Gambit until white plays C3. It is not the Smith-Morra Gambit. That is incorrect. Pawn takes pawn. You must play C3 for it to be the Smith-Morra Gambit. In my humble opinion. Chess.com and lichess, they both disagree or they disagree with each other? Dude, they probably have the same third party, you know, noobs who are making... Dude, I'll bet you anything. The people that programmed this aren't even chess players. How much do you want to bet, Warnaki? The guy that, like... The guy that put the opening names in this Opening Explorer isn't even a chess player. I'll bet you like 10 to 1. That whoever created the variation names for this, they're just some computer programmer or some random dude who works with programmers who set this up. Seriously, I'll bet you anything. Whoever put the names in there was just some random noob who doesn't know anything about chess. And they were just like looking up the names of the opening on like Wikipedia or something. I know how it works. So definitely lichess is third party program. C3, D takes C3, Knight takes C3, Knight C6. Gambits must be accepted. But as John Fedorovich says, hey, you could always give the pawn back if you have a problem. My Fedorovich impression is weak now. But it's something like that you can always just give the goddamn pawn back if there's a problem. Just insert profanity. The great thing about accepting a gambit is that you can just give it back at any point when you find a convenient moment if necessary. You have an extra pawn. Bishop c4. Unusual move order. This is Yabatis. It's Yabatis against a player over the board. Sorry, over the board. It's a game here on lichess. Yabatis playing black against AK88. Anon. I don't think there's any way to take advantage of this move order. It's really not significant. Some people still complain about the Fermi ruining it. E6, Knight F3. That's funny. Knight F6. Queen E2. John almost killed me over a beer, but we've forgiven each other. Queen E2 right away. Oh, you're playing Knight F6. So this is freaky. I don't think he's talking about the Smith-Morra Gambit Princess Chess. Ruining something else. I guess Nick always ruins stuff. Knight F6. John always complains about everything. All he does is complain. Finally, he gave up complaining about sports on Facebook. He's a pretty grumpy guy. But Knight F6 is a weird move, Yabatis. Quite unusual. So the idea is to play like E5, D5, I guess. I guess it's not bad though. Look at that score. Because no strong players played the Smith-Morra. Only weak players. Except for someone unsound. Knight F3, Knight F6. Oh, it's okay for beginners. But real title players don't play this opening for white. Knight f6, queen e2. So e5 goes too far. We hit back with d5, and black is good. This is a good move to take them out of their normal comfort zone, but it looks like after queen e2 we'll probably transpose. Queen e2, a6. Wow. What's the trap here? There's no trap. I mean, d6 would transpose like an old school. It's funny, like that's the most basic variation of the Smith-Morra. Even that's okay for black. You played the most simple sort of dumb setup for black, and white can't prove an advantage against that. Like in no lines does white actually get an advantage in this opening. The best he can do is like get equality. So it seems kind of unappealing to most strong players. The only thing that can happen is like black can fall into some sort of trap. Queen c7 is it's a Siberian trap line. We're hoping for like castles, knight g4. You obviously must know this, right? Exactly. Let's see how many people have fallen into this sort of trap. Klaus Pohl against Elvest. I didn't understand that game. That's not possible. G3 is the best move. What if bishop e3? Nobody would play that. Rook d1. That's classic. Stefan Brehm against Igor Henkin, 1994. So this is weird. Like knight d4 doesn't work because of rook takes d4. It looks like white's defending against the threat. Basically the idea is this. So here, 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 and here. That's the Siberian trap. This moves is good, actually. You can play an obscure variation like knight f6 and still white has nothing. I mean, what variation does white actually get a good position in? It looks like e5, knight g4, bishop f4 is unclear at best. This is a correspondence player. It's some kind of Japanese correspondence player, I guess. So, a6, castle. He's not my colleague. b5, bishop b3. That's like the famous joke about... Wait, who was it? What was the colleague joke? Oh yeah, when Gufeld, that's like Gufeld and Korchnoi. Gufeld came up to Korchnoi and claimed he was like his colleague. Korchnoi was like, "You're not my colleague. Give me a break." When Gufeld became a grandmaster, he wasn't in Korchnoi's league, you know. We're both grandmasters, but you're still not my colleague. I mean, that's the point. Gufeld couldn't hold a candle to Korchnoi. No right to call him his colleague. So this is interesting, though. a6, castle b5, bishop b3. Wow, there's like no games here. So unusual putting a knight in f6. Yeah, I mean, it does look like that's the critical test. a6, castles. What's the problem here? Is it e5, according to the computer? There's nothing special for white. I don't see... Yeah, that's true, Spectacular Camel. Few players could be calling themselves colleagues with Korchnoi. But Gufeld was obnoxious. Queen e2, a6, castles. b5, bishop e3. e5, knight g4, h3. So you went too far. b5 is experimental, but I guess, you know, if we look by the engine, you're going to have to be very, very careful here with the knight on the unusual square. The computer wants to play this. Knight a5, e5, knight b3, ab3. Inventing a new variation against the Mora. E takes f6, b takes c3. I don't mind this. That looks fine. It seems completely okay for black. But I'm not on board with what happened with the knight g4. Now I admit that white is better. This was too speculative. Okay. Yabatis is not a perfectionist. He's fishing around. Now white has a good game. h3, he's got control of this. So the main point is that black loses his counterplay against e5. Here, we're being kicked off with the pressure. So now white can play knight e4 and start to really use his space advantage. Knight h6. I don't know about bishop takes h6 or not. But I am seriously concerned about this. What do we do now? Knight f5? Maybe it's not that bad. Now rook d1. And maybe black's still alright. Perhaps with queen b6. But it's starting to look... In the Hebden dictionary, it says black's position is starting to creak. My guess is white is better. Almost a pawn up here, positionally. But maybe it's not that bad. I'm not sure if he should do this, but let's see. Bishop h6. This could be very dangerous for white too. Maybe a5 later on. He took rook d1, but I mean the dark squares are a free roll now. Rook g8. You see, I assume white should play knight e4. I mean, isn't this a problem? That looks like a problem in my world. I think we're in trouble. Now the only move is bishop e7. But this pawn is weak. There's serious invasion here. We're tied down on d7. And we can't really break through against g2. So I suspect black's in big trouble. But he misses knight e4 and plays this. Like, that's horrendous. He's weakening himself for no real reason. He's probably going to fall for a one-move cheapo based on queen b6. Yabatis couldn't resist. He could resist playing queen here. That also defends g3. So he played queen c7, putting pressure on the e5 pawn. Maybe better. No, I mean, I like black's position in a blitz game, but I wouldn't want to play it in a long game. Rook fe1, and now castle. And you're going to b8. Yeah, the f pawn can break. By the way, maybe f6, actually, Prem. Because if we have a rook sacrifice on g3, we could play f6, get him to take, and then sacrifice our rook on g3 right away. I mean, that, in some lines, will be decisive. There's also bishop c5 ideas. This looks really, really dangerous, like a sort of, like St. George blitz game I would often get. But Black is not supposed to play knight f6. It's not a really reliable line. So finally white finds knight e4, queen b6, rook c1, king b8. He fell for it. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like white's better here. The engine is giving him just a small advantage. Almost nothing. But he blunders with knight d6, and this is just ka-ting, g3, take, 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 Blunderville. Welcome to Blunderville. King here. Now, is there anything cute for black here? Knight d4. You did rook f3, but what about knight d4 right away? The ultimate. This looks really strong. I don't think we're surviving too long there after knight d4. Survival is unlikely. Yeah. So this way, I don't know, are we just trading a lot of stuff? Are you sure this works? So the point is knight f3 check. This is also hanging. So you can do like queen d6. Yeah, that's good. Hopefully I'll play queen e5, blunder a queen. Rook g8 is also interesting. Rook g8 is over. It seems like you were pretty decisive here. And bishop f3. He has to sack his queen. They gave up. Good game. Not bad. Alright. Sadamasa, who's also probably not here, right? Is anybody out there? Can you guys make a donation? Support the stream. Subscribe. Make a gift sub. Anything. Alright, seriously. Sadamasagana's here. Alright, cool. Thanks to all you guys, seriously, for subscribing. Appreciate it. Next game. By the way, tomorrow morning we're playing Blitz. 5 plus 3. 11 a.m. Blitz challenge stream here on lichess.org. Lichess. Why didn't they call it lay chess? Yeah, doggy coins. Why doesn't Elon Musk just create his own coin? Wouldn't that make more sense? They're promoting other people's coins? I don't have any doggy coins. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. 100 bits to get it started. 100 doggy coins. How much are doggy coins running these days? I don't know. It's 5 p.m. in your country. Wow, you're like... Seriously, Far East. Let me get my mind on... We've got Sadamasa. Alright, inbox. The Yanish. Janish. It's alright. 1 doggy coin equals 5 cents. They're nickels. Wooden nickels. Alright. Megios versus Sadamasa. Cool, it's a Yanish, or we in the United States prefer the Schliemann. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop e5, f5. Alright, so we did some analysis. Wednesdays I'm doing analysis opening a little bit. Opening analysis, in other words. A little bit on Wednesday mornings here on my stream. 11 a.m. Wednesdays. Said that 3 times. 2 weeks ago we started with a Schliemann. We were looking at lines with d3. I also was looking at stupid stuff like e takes f5. But this is the main line. Okay, knight c3. We didn't talk about this because it's pretty well known. Now, Sadamasa plays f takes e4. Knight f6 is also a move, but white now plays e takes f. So that line is kind of not that reliable, I guess. I thought I went back. I didn't. Okay, so main line, pawn takes pawn. Now, there are 2 ways to play here. d5 or knight f6. This is the first major branch. Most people that I know like to play d5. Our former subscriber, Nefidov, who betrayed us and doesn't come back, used to play the Schliemann sometimes, and knew this quite well, this line with d5. d5 is like the classical variation for black, but I think knight f6 is also quite good. It's funny how few people take on c6 here. It has a huge plus for white. You mean where? Right away? Yeah, but it's nothing. Bishop takes c6. It's really nothing for white. We were looking at this. You can even play b takes c. I mean, white is in trouble, man. I think he can grovel for a draw only. White is like taking like draw by repetition. This is one of the lines we looked at the other day. It's incredibly lame. You know, I don't know what the statistics are based on. What kind of games are those? You know, seriously. JCS, what's up? Arc G3 is rating with a party 11. Of 11. Thank you for the raid, Arc G3. Yeah, this is stuff we looked at. It's just lame for white, but I mean, it's lines that you have to know if you play the Schliemann. So anyway, knight c3 is main line. No, I don't know. Pawn takes pawn. Okay, he goes into the main line. I recommend knight f6. It's easier if you're learning the Schliemann to play this, probably. It involves usually maybe like sacrificing a pawn at some point, but it's not a big deal. This is also good, but it's extremely complicated, the lines in this. So this variation that Sadamasa is playing here requires quite a bit of sort of like memorization to know all the variations. That's the only problem. I saw some insane correspondence games, like where the theory goes out past move 30 in this variation. So I would I'd be very well prepared before I attempted to play this line. I never went into this. Knight e5, de4, and now black has what? 2 moves here. Queen g5 and queen. I'm going to turn off the engine. Queen g5 and queen d5. Both playable. Queen g5 is considered the main line. If you take, you lose the exchange, so I wouldn't recommend it. Queen g5, main line. Now white has pretty much always played this move. Knight f6, and now f4 or knight a7. I didn't really know this was a variation, knight e5. Apparently that's looking like it's occasionally played. But I mean, these are the 2 moves, f4 and knight a7. It's already like mind-boggling complications. I think maybe the computer likes knight takes a7. This is where I saw really weird, long correspondence analysis lines. Was in this variation. I think. You know, no, it's not looking familiar. It must be f4. f4, queen f4. Now knight a7's a move here as well. By the way, instead of queen f4, I was speaking of Nefedov. Nefedov has played queen h4 check. This is another line. This was Nefedov's like secret backup variation. There are some older games. It looks like it's out of fashion. So you take the pawn, d4. I don't know the theory well enough here. As I said, who was Bruno Parma? He was one of the first really strong Italian players. I'm sorry, not Italian. He's from Ljubljana, I think. He's Slovenian. Not that far from Italy. It sounds like an Italian name. You know, the border. Italy, Slovenia. He's a legendary Slovenian player. He was playing very aggressive chess. The hero of Ljubljana, I think. So, queen f4, d4. I'm out of my depth here. I actually never looked at d4. Someone actually played king d8. This is just incredibly complex. d4, queen h4 check, g3, queen h3, and now knight e5 check, c6. We're still in book. There seems to be some sort of transposition going on here. We've like transposed to another line, bishop c4, and there's a Magnus Carlsen Nisipianu game from 2010. Did white do something wrong? I mean, is it just like d4 isn't the main move? Knight e5 check is the main move, then c6, and then d4. So it's like move order transposition. It doesn't really matter. Knight e5, c6, d4 anyway. So if you take this, you're losing your queen, sorry. You have to move the queen. Queen h4 check, g3. It transposes. So bishop c4, bishop e6, bishop f4. Where most players played, and what is this, by the way? This is a 3+2 casual game. And, okay, it's a strong player rated 2340. Both these guys know the theory. Bishop f4, castles queenside. So this looks like an important point where there's like 3 or 4 different continuations for black. I mean, if I was playing this, I would have it analyzed almost to death. Castles queenside is extremely logical. Bishop e4 check is an interesting Caro-Kann kind of move. You're like provoking white to weaken his pawn structure. Is that really beneficial? I mean, if white is going to castle queenside, it might make a difference. Provoking this move c3. That could slightly weaken white's position. If he's going to castle on the queenside later. I could see how bishop e4 is not so stupid. Rook d8 is a move. Keeping the option to castle kingside alive. And attacking the d4 pawn. Oh, by the way, there was a game there. See, there's a game here by Seitlin in 1992. Pranstetter, who's a Czech player, against Mikhail Seitlin. Sladgie was like one of the biggest experts. I don't know if he's still playing or alive. He wrote like the authoritative book on the Schliemann years ago in the 80s or 90s. The only book, in English that was in print basically on this opening, I think. But it came back into popularity like 10 years ago. So bishop f4, castle's queenside, bishop d6. It's unbelievable how many games are in here. They're all pretty modern, I would assume. Going back to 89 in a couple cases, though. Hodgson Klinger from 89. So let's see. We're getting to the end of theory here. King b1 is the best move. Vachier. Rook hf1. Whatever Vachier played, I'll have that. King b1. Vachier, Le Grave, Maxime. Rook he8. This looks like best play for both sides. Clearly rook e8. Very close game. So instead his opponent played rook he1. Rook here. King b1. No. It's a fast game. 3+2. This move is a useful prophylaxis. Instead, white exchanged. Queen comes back in the game. That's not automatic, by the way. It is automatic because of knight f7, actually. So we have to protect against knight f7. Rook takes, knight f7. How bad is that for black? There's this fork here. It's amazing how well these guys play the opening in the 3+2 game. Bishop e6, queen e6, king b1. Who is this guy? Megios. 2308 in bullet. Not many rapid games. Strong blitz player. He knows his stuff. King b1 and now h5 from Sadamasa. Gaining control of g4, but it weakens g5 a little. What are we doing with h5? Are you trying to play knight g4? It seems like kind of a weird move. Play knight g4? But what can black do here? Black is just worse because of the Isolani on e4. It's a pretty unpleasant position, at least on paper. g5 is a dramatic move. I don't think we're going to play that. That doesn't look good. g5, bishop g5, bishop e5. I mean, it would undermine his center. But I don't like the look of this. Leaving us with a bad structure. Does anybody have a suggestion for what black should play here? Another game, please? Excuse me? Excuse me? What are you talking about? Alright, whatever. That was polite. Overanalyzed. Try playing some bullet chess, like... The point of the stream is to analyze chess. What is black's best plan here? Maybe you should try a different game where analysis is not required. Tic-tac-toe, Monopoly. It's just rude. Missing the point of chess. Kakatiri, that's good. I'm just really, really busy right now, so I can't automatically respond to people's emails instantly. I will get back to you. Just really no time to even like respond to my personal emails. We'll get back to you. So h5, yeah, it's a weird move. Guys, I'm concerned, you know, that I don't have an idea for black here. If we drop this pawn, we're gonna lose. And I don't see a constructive way to play. G5 is the bad ending. Takes, 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 takes. I mean, black might survive here, but that's the best case scenario. So can we sacrifice the pawn somehow? Man, I don't like this position. What does our oracle say? King b8 and black is better. How in the world is black better in this position? Computer, you're smoking drugs. No way that black is better here. This pawn is pretty likely to fall. Bishop c7 was the engines. I mean, I like this idea, actually. Now that I think about it, if we can undermine white's center with c5, we're getting ideas. So like the computer wants to play king b8, getting the king off the c file so we can play for c5, try to undermine white's control of the e5 square. But see, this is why like chess is hard. It's playable, but it's risky right away. You know, the white squares, especially with our king here, you know, on c8. It's risky right away. Looks like it should be prepared slightly. There's 100 moves here where black like gets a bad position and loses, and like 3 where he has a pretty good game. But, you know, let's analyze the next game. Why should we think? h5. I guess it's not that bad. It's just sort of holding. White now played c4, which looks risky. Exposing his own king on this diagonal. And you played a natural move, the most natural move, queen f5. But could you undermine him here with c5? Or are you toast after d5? I shouldn't spend too much time in all the games, but I want to get through correctly. Queen f5, and then h4. It seems inconsistent to me that you play h5 to hold him, and then you played h4. It's a blitz game. Allowing this move. And he wins the exchange. So Sadamasa overlooked f7. Do you have enough compensation for the exchange? This knight is trapped? It's not trapped, right? Not exactly. We have bishop f4. It's trapped. Why d6? Why not c7? So you're winning now. 2 pieces for the rook. Not a great structure. 4 isolated pawns. I would think that white still has a fighting chance. Your king's a little open. He has 4 isolated pawns. I mean, you have four isolated pawns. I do these analysis every Thursday for the subscribers. Everyone submits a game. 10 subscribers submit games. We have a limit of 10 games. And then on Wednesdays, I also do analysis, but master games and openings. This is my only evening of doing analysis. But these are games played by the subscribers to the stream. 10 games played by the subscribers to the stream, not just like random submissions. That would be another idea. So black, oof, a5, what? Oh, that's a queen over there. I didn't see. This is a blitz game, so he starts to get into a dangerous position a little bit. Your king is going to walk up here. And ultimately the g-pawn wins, or the e-pawn. These two passers win. Alright. They should win. Hopefully. It does. Okay, good game. So a lot of theory there. Yeah, I mean, I understand people getting bored, but please don't be rude and make sarcastic comments to the stream. So, Warnaki's next. These are games for the subscribers, so I'm going to take my time if I can analyzing their games to thank them for being subscribers to my stream. He just left after this game. I would go home and, you know, cry for a while if I lost that bad. I'm just kidding. Never know, man. Maybe the land shark was at the door. A lot of people don't like to play like matches, Sadamasa. Some people like it, some people don't. You know, I personally used to like playing like long sequences of games with one player, but I kind of got out of the habit of doing that. I think it depends. You shouldn't take it personally if, you know, someone just wants to play one game with one player. I wouldn't think about it too much. Warnaki, guess who's next? That was a good game, especially for the time control. It's unusual, though, you could find an opponent in 3+2 who can reel off like 15 moves of theory. No, a lot of mistakes. 50 cent pawn loss for white, and 30 cent pawn loss for black. So good for black, not great for white. 3 blunders. They did get a lot of moves in the opening for free. Alright, Warnaki's next. Welcome, guys, to my stream. International Master William Pascal. I'm doing serious game analysis with my subscribers. They can use Engine. I don't play long game online. Well, that's why, yeah. Online chess gravitates toward faster time controls. I agree. Alright, let's do... Oh, summon a sound. Sus. You put him on the back of the list. That's the last game for today. Sus. Man, my pen is finally dying on me. I've had this pen forever. It's been in the family. It's working. Sus. Alright, that's 10. Or is it? So, Warnaki. Where are you? W doesn't do it. We need W-O. Sia, Yoeshtet Kivanuk. For the stream, I've got this. I've decided to call it How to Play a Dry Game, Then Ask I Am How It Would Be Better Spiced. Appreciate the help. Alright. Yeah, I've been criticized for playing some dry games myself. But not always. It depends on my mood. Poke Pikachu. No Fajarwitz allowed from you guys. Oh no, not another Smith Mora. Man, I mean, next thing we're gonna get London systems. I like to play against Chigorin. Someone has sound, why don't you just play the Chigorin, actually? You know, that's the solution to all your worries. All-inclusive system for black. Against d4. Just put your knight on c6 and whatever. Alright, knight f3, knight c6, c4. And it's in English. So, yeah, I've been annoyed by this lately. But I've been annoyed primarily by knight c3, bishop e4. I don't know. This is kind of an underrated system for black. Warnacki is white here. He played e3. So it's like a Nimzabitch. Wow. The opponent just played e4. And why not? And why not? You like Sadamasla, you like knight d5 there? I don't think it's slight advantage to white. I wish it was that easy. After bishop d4, slight advantage to white. Whatever Boris Gulko says. You could even do like a bishop e7 type of thing. I'll have to look at it one day. Maybe for an analysis stream. That variation is... It just doesn't have a lot of theory. Okay, there's also bishop e4, knight d5, e4. I guess that's the main line. I guess I should focus on that. But anyway, okay. Different subject here. e3, e4. Interesting. Is black overextending himself? Or not here with e4? Fortuna chess coach, you like that? 95 English? I used to play knight d5 against the immediate bishop e4, but those are slightly different. So this is basically kind of a Flora Mikinas English reversed. You could play knight to g1 and argue that this pawn on e4 is overextended. After knight f6, we have a reversed gambit line. Knight f6, knight c3, d5, cd5, knight d5, knight takes e4, sacking a pawn. Just saying, you know, it's possible. Knight g1 is like the Brooklyn. It's a Brooklyn variation of the Alekhine reversed. It's not that stupid. But I guess this is probably better. So we transpose to a Rachmanov. Oh, okay, so it's a standard Rachmanov system. Normally Rachmanov would play c4, e5, knight f3. And after knight c6, he needs a move. He needs a move to be creative, so he's also played e3. And after e4, knight d4, we've transposed. Oh, okay, so it's not. It's a Rachmanov with e4, knight d4, knight c6. I've got lag, guys. Lag wave on the way. Hopefully it doesn't knock my stream out. I've been getting lag all night. So after knight c6, this is a Rachmanov. So you're playing e3 in the normal Rachmanov position. Rachmanov has played knight c2. To me, I mean, I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm lying, but people have played it. Is it me, or is that going too far, you know? I'm sorry, like, we're white and we're gonna, like, retreat our knight back to c2? Does that seem right? Is it possible that we can just do that without any sort of negative ramification? I would think this would be normal, you know, e3. I don't really love knight takes c6 either. I hate doing that in Alekhine's defense. It seems like whichever way black plays this, it's favorable to black. Rachmanov has 4 games. He lost with white against Sarawan. Playing the English against Sarawan? That's a good game, though. Rachmanov, Sarawan. A little bit of positional chess going on there. Um, but both recaptures. I mean, is this really bad? Even that seems playable to me. Anyways, so we have knight c2. No. You played e3. He played e4. We have knight d4. Now knight takes d4. C takes d4. I mean, e takes d4. So normal Nimzovich is like d5 or something, right? Reverse Nimzovich. Instead, black played knight f6. Hector Walsh, this is a correspondence guy. These are, maybe some of them are correspondence games, not the older one. Schlieba. So Schlieba is a Polish player from 1978. He was playing this stuff long time ago. Queen f6. Greed is good. Now I would really love to sacrifice this pawn somehow. Best move according to the computer. Bishop e2. Theoretical novelty. Sacrificing a whole pawn. It's a lot like the way Aronian beat Fabiano in the Florimikiness. We can actually give up this pawn and try to exploit the fact that black... I'm not surprised, honestly. We're going to just, hey, have a pawn, and we're going to develop our pieces, castles, knight c3, and then kick his butt with his undeveloped pieces and his queen on d4. That's the computer. Okay, queen f6 is wrong, probably. So, I don't buy this. In accuracy, queen f6 was best. It seems unnatural to play queen f6. I don't see what can be wrong about knight f6 or d5. I think the computer would change its mind if we let it run really long. It'll start seeing those lines with queen f6, queen d4, start turning in white's favor. So, I like knight f6. What if you're right and they're wrong? That's what you should ask yourself. Knight f6. Jorge Smetan. I like this developing pieces thing. That's good. Though, frankly, I don't want to trade the star square bishop. Bishop e4 is kind of a bluff. It also... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe black should just play d5. I just want to play d5. You know, if you take, you trash your pawn structure. So that's like never really a good move. I don't see how... I don't know. I don't see how this can be better for white. Anyways, his opponent played bishop e4. Queen c2. Maybe you should just do the computer thing. With maximal speed, castle kingside. Queen c2. And you're transposed to Rachmanov versus Sasha Kiran. 2019. All respect for Rachmanov. He's a great player. But I think this opening kind of sucks. Okay. Queen c2, bishop takes c3. What? Maybe the English just doesn't give us an advantage. We should accept it. I don't like bishop e4, and I definitely don't like trading off our bishop for no reason. It's safe to assume that Georgie didn't do that. Or Sasha Kiran, like both very strong positional players. I don't know. I can't decide which way to take because they're both so good. I like them both, but it's possible like your bishop on a3 won't be that good. It's too clogged up on this diagonal. I think the main thing is that your bishop is definitely going to be good on this diagonal at a number of squares. You know, g5, f4, or e3. Probably in all cases, this bishop will be a strong piece. I think here its value is a little bit less clear. It gets blocked out by d6. It could be a bad Russell-Emo. I think that bishop's going to determine like if you're better or worse later on in the game. If the dark square bishop becomes a very strong piece, white is better. If it sucks, then white is worse. It's the Jolly Joker. So I would need some time to figure that out over the board. This does look better. I like getting my bishop out. Now, in a perfect world, you know, you can also consider taking with the queen, by the way. It's something that should be considered. You have lateral ideas. And also bishop e2 down there. I should have mentioned that. It's just that after d5, I'm not really sure. Our diagonal will remain blocked. Not so easy to operate, and white to gain an advantage. So this is clearly the sort of safe move with a definite advantage for white. Anyway, I don't want to spend forever on one game, so castles, bishop e2, necessary. Black should strongly consider h6, stopping the classic bishop g5. Because that pin may be difficult to get out of. Like, honestly, after this, you should seriously consider bishop g5. Is he going to play g5 to break the pin? Like, how is black breaking this pin? I guess queen e7. Try to crawl up here. It's not so easy to get out of the pin. Probably queen e7, queen e6. So when you play this, I'm sorry, this is analysis. I need to go back. BC, this is a real game. Bishop e2, d5, okay. You got to get in d3. Can we play d3 here? We're going to be sacking a pawn. This is not my favorite move. Dude, what if you take? He takes with the queen. And then you chip away at his center. This is still pretty good. Just do not hesitate too long to make your move here. It looks like CD. What are you afraid of? Knight takes? You got that. No, you got queen e4 as well. I don't think he's got anything there. Sorry for the lag wave. Not really sure what's causing this lag today. Guys, welcome to the stream. Please support the stream and donate if you can. Thank you, Mr. Coffee. Agnes Karadewski, my horror this week. I don't like saying that. Alright, anyways. Yeah. So you played c5, taking pressure off the center. You got the squiggle going on. Sort of rectangular Tetris. The worm. This pawn structure is not that highly rated. Donate, Mr. C6. Also difficult to understand, really, why he needs to play that. I like the breaky break with b6 in some lines. And by the way, welcome to the B file. You might want to take advantage of that B file. Now you're playing a4. Something to do with a5. See, this is like, wow, he can't even jump over there, and he's still playing h6. Now queen d1 on developing, but covering this diagonal. Yeah, you're absolutely doing nothing. You've been doing nothing for a number of moves now. You need to play d3 as soon as possible to activate your bishop. And this is really asking for it. Please, sir, sacrifice the bishop on h3. Bring your rook over and checkmate me with this, this, and this. I think that he might be able to pull it off. You're so poorly mobilized here. The only thing that's going to save you is the rook a3 and c4 with lateral defense. Like that. Like, literally, after bishop h3, pawn h3, queen h3, you can go here. And white's, like, winning. Because the rook will just defend the third. But that's a matter of time. This is a very, very bad move. I know you're trying to control the g4 square. But I don't think that's worth the risk. I think if he trades your good bishop with bishop g4, we'll probably play f3. You need to go here. You've been waiting too long to make this move. This is a good move. Your bishop now will develop. It's extremely strong. Look at the dark squares. If bishop g4, even if you had to do this, it wouldn't be so bad. Like, take. Your bishop is pretty good. Your rook can come up and over. Even if he controls the open file, I think that black still has to be careful. This bishop is relevant. Very relevant if it goes to f4, for example. And yeah, he probably can't even go with that. He has to go this rook, so he doesn't get his rook trapped with like bishop d6. You're probably doing fine though. You've got to play d3, man. You've got to get your bishop in the game. Here. You left yourself with no other options. So d3 is necessary. Question is the timing. Yeah. I don't know which way to take. He has access to the square. Probably I take with the bishop. Here. I guess queen takes might be okay, but I'm very concerned about knight e4. And that's why I'd rather take with the bishop. How are we going to deal with knight e4? It looks like we can still probably play f3. Yeah, this is kind of weird. I don't like his control of the e4 square. And I definitely don't want to trade white squared bishops. So he's playing poorly now. I mean, he should go to the file. Yeah, this is a bad square for your queen. It's really strange placement. Sorry, I skipped ahead, guys. So I want to get to the end game. We're going to skip ahead here. This is sick. This bishop on a3. It's ill. And white should lose with that bishop. This was misplayed pretty badly. Putting your pawn on c5, blocking your bishop out. You know, and you should have had it develop to f4. Look at that diagonal, for example. Very badly played with the bishop. So now you're hanging on. And you're probably okay after f3. But you need to get this back into the game. King h2 is weird. That's good. And it looks like a draw. Flat. It's a flat line. But I don't think this was such a dry game like you called it. You're kind of critical like Alyekin or something. Now it's a dry game. Now it's a dead draw. It's a force field. There's really nothing to play for here. There's no way that either side can win this. But I don't think it was a dry game until this point. F5 is actually a bad move. You should get your bishop in there. You didn't take good care of your bishop, Warnacki. And that's a horrible move. Maybe black could try to lose somehow. He has G5. I guess it's too late, though. You have F4. Anyway, he should just centralize his king and offer a draw. He's not using his king here. You might be able to win now. Going across the other side, he still has bishop A6. Yeah, it probably doesn't matter. Even if you got your king to C7 and B8, he could just give you the A pawn and play bishop A6 and probably hold a draw. So it's a draw now. Totally. Alright, that's enough. I don't need to see any more, except for Warnacki won. A6 was the worst move on the board. If he doesn't play A6, he can't lose, right? But now your king will be on B7, attacking both pawns. It's still a draw, though. It's not relevant. You should just go for king D6, but he has bishop C2. Are you fast enough here? King D6, bishop C2. Is there any sort of trick? Let's say A5, Warnacki. Can I say A5? King C7? I don't know what black does. Bishop D1. G5. Bishop C2. King here. Well, let's say bishop E2. King here. Bishop B5. King takes pawn. King E6. I mean, no. It's a dead draw. C4 is not happening. So how in the world did you win? Bishop G5, here, 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 here. Oh, he has a pawn there. Now you're probably in a little bit of danger. You have to be careful. Wow. You won on time? It's a draw. The time. Alright, he won by time. Not that dry a game as you like to make it sound. I think it was an interesting game. You really misplayed it. Alright, guys. We've got about a little less than an hour left. So Princess, Acer, Mule Skinner, Sumaher, and Sus. Thanks, Warnacki. Princess Chess. Welcome, everybody. Tomorrow we're going to host a Blitz stream in the morning, 11 a.m. I'm going to be taking challenges 5+3 here on lichess. Don't miss it. Bring your bits for the bit battle on Friday and Sunday. Don't forget. Dogecoins. Where is my princess game? Prinz. The Prinz system. Got a chess submission for Thursday. Smyslov game resembles games of mine that might have decided me on playing the French exchange. Oof. What? Wait. What are you saying? 10 bits of appreciation bits. Present. I don't understand what you meant, Princess Chess. Might have decided you? Well, there's a Mars rover that lands in like 30 minutes. Not sure if anyone is interested in watching that stuff. I should pay you to get people to leave my stream. How much do you charge? Alright. I already don't have enough viewers. Can you watch it and watch the stream at the same time? Can we do that? Like a Mars landing watch party? Without leaving the stream? I'm just kidding. Just don't leave the stream. You can watch on another window. It's cool. Haha, an example. Why don't play anything other than French Exchange? I don't understand. We're trying to teach you to not play the French Exchange. I said Smyslov is like, he's like a god, in my opinion, with white. So why would you not be inspired? Princess Chess, are you not inspired? You should be inspired by this. The man. I probably know this game. So, Tolu. That was a Furby. Alexander Tolush. One of the Furby's names was Tolu. I still remember. D5, Knight C3. Princess Chess probably has the thing for Furbies. Bishop E4. E5. Real chess player's way. Chess person's way to play the French. We try to be more PC here. It's not the 80s anymore. Also, Acerbate, I recommended today to play Knight C3 against the French. Botwinic had some problems in French sometimes. You know. By the way, Prem. Botwinic didn't win because of French against Smyslov. He did win one nice game, I remember. But I don't think the French was the best opening to play against Smyslov. I remember one in particular that he won a nice game against Smyslov, but he also lost games against Smyslov in French. He also won some bad position once, I remember. Knight E7, A3, and now Bishop A5. Furby. Okay, first of all, this is an unusual game because Tolush played Knight E7. Not that many people play Knight E7 Princess Chess, so this is a strange game to introduce you to this line a little bit. You really should look at, first some games with the main line with C5. It can transpose. But I should caution you, this is highly, less usual. Knight E7, A3, and now this is extremely unusual, Bishop A5. That's played like Halifman played against Kasparov. This A3 Bishop A5 line, the Pution's big variation in the winnower. Maybe Petrosian first played it. That's why the Armenian players like the French so much. Yasser Serouan, big Petrosian fan. But first we should study games with the main lines, like A3, Bishop takes, C3, BC. This is the variation that white should really concentrate on first. This is a sideline. Knight E7, A3. Okay, this is really weird. I don't think anyone's ever played that against me. So you can see here there's 4 games in the Opening Explorer, and white played B4 in 3 of them. This is highly unusual. But Smyslov was probably just as confused as most people. I think he's hoping that black would transpose to something semi-normal. So he plays Bishop D3. Maybe black can still try to play C5. Knight D7. And now Queen G4 hitting the G7 pawn. So Princess Chess, do you think this is kind of chaotic? You can't say this is a normal line for black. This is very strange. C5, now it almost looks normal. And then B4. This is why she plays the French Exchange. What's going on with this pawn? If we take on G7, that's going to be a double attack. The knight takes on E5. So b4, classic idea. Okay, Princess Chess, first of all, if you saw this line in its natural environment, like c5, a3, bishop a5, b4, you should see some games in this variation first. And then, you'll have a little bit better idea of what's happening. This idea, this pawn move, is considered like a main line. This is not a typical game for Smyslov, actually. He didn't usually have like crazy, insane positions where everything's all convoluted necessarily. Alright, so bishop a5 here is the main line. Knight e7 is unusual. Bishop d3 here, queen g4, and now b4. That's the theme. Key themes, knight b5 in here, queen g4 attacking the g7 pawn. So what is black supposed to do? If pawn takes b4, it's like a wing gambit. Now this pawn is secure. So I think this looks good for white. With the pawn in e5 secured, we play knight b5. And obviously, this is devastating. Queen takes g7 and knight d6 are devastating. So, it looks tough for black to defend. I mean, I don't know. I doubt this is good for black. So he plays c takes d4. And now, it's looking like a normal winnower. If we're trading that bishop off for the knight. And that's what happens. f4, guarding the key central pawn. Then it's a trade of dark squared bishop for knight, which favors white. Here, here. Now white has the bishop pair. And that dark squared bishop that black doesn't have. And the key to the position, I think, is that the fact that he doesn't have his dark squared bishop. Black doesn't have his good dark squared bishop. Is so important here. There are weaknesses all over the dark squares for black. That's the single most important strategic feature of this game. Now knight c5, this is important for us too. Our good bishop we would rather not trade off. Check, and bishop d7. And another positional exchange, also favorable for black. Black gets rid of the bad bishop, potentially for our good bishop. Queen g7, that was kind of a given. Rook g8, bishop check, queen d7, queen h7. Yeah, this is pretty insane. I would think that black is doing alright here. I don't like the white king particularly after rook takes g2. And at the end of the day, white's good bishop is gone. These knights are decent. Prem was talking about Botvinnik. I mean, that's how he crushed like Smyslov in one game with a knight on f5. So the idea is he has this and takes on c3. But honestly, I'm not in love with white's position here. Primarily because of his king. I'm not sure how safe the white king is, and this looks very, very problematic. Knight on e4. Two good minor pieces. I don't feel like this got out of control. I feel like this got out of control, is what I'm trying to say. I don't like the way the white had to trade his white square bishop off. I don't like that white's king doesn't feel safe. The fact that white is up a pawn is pretty irrelevant. That's his extra pawn, you know. What's not irrelevant is the h pawn, but it's isolated. Normally in the winnower, white might hold on to his g pawn, and then it's really dangerous. Imagine if white still had a g pawn. Then it's seriously trouble for black. But rook c8, I was really hoping that black would have something better than rook c8 here. Like, I want black to build a castle queenside, ultimately. This is literally winning for black. I think it's pretty close to winning for black. I wasn't sure, though. I would definitely think it's better for black. But I'm not sure about rook c8. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, this looks pretty good. You got one knight on e4 and another one coming to f5. Like, what is black gonna... I mean, what is white gonna do? This bishop will be a good defender. But I don't see how white, like, ever gets his king to a safe position. Black could potentially castle queenside and be fairly safe. Yeah, it's terrible for white. So Tolu confused him. But I'm not sure about rook c8. Knight e2, knight f5, and like a4. White got disoriented in this strange variation. d4, queen f3. When was this game, by the way? 1939. d3, cd3, knight d3 check, king f1, knight h4. Oof. I mean, can we play queen e4? Am I missing something? Because that looks like a good square. Can I play queen e4? I think queen d5 with a crushing endgame advantage is one option. But that looks like it might not be that convincing. What does black do after queen e4 to finish white off here? I mean, invasive moves like rook c2. Invasive plant species. I mean, this is coming down, this is coming down. Rooks are coming to your 7th rank. Yeah, there's no coordination. It's like literally Smyslav's worst game ever with white against the French. Thanks for sharing. Nobody's perfect. He played queen h3, and I was very concerned about queen d5, personally. I guess he could survive there somehow. Nah, it's over. So he got confused, but it's a very unusual variation, Princess Chess. That might have done it. Alright, not a good learning tool, that game, necessarily. I wouldn't subscribe by white's play in that game. Going back, if you want to just pause for a minute to go back. Something about this area of the game. Is it necessary to play f4? If knight b5, knight e5, queen g7, knight g6? Are you speaking my language? Like, seriously, I don't know. I thought it was okay at one moment, but maybe f4 is the move. cd4. Yeah, I'm right. It looks like f4 is the mistake. I was suggesting this, and this is unclear. It looks like it's worse than I thought. Knight e5, queen g7. Yeah, it's not that clear. But it looks like f4 really goes under. So he misjudged this pretty bad. Apparently this is slightly better here. Now if knight e5, queen g7, knight d3 check, c takes d, rook g8. It's a much different ball game. This is pretty murky though. I don't really love this either. Tolush confused him with a very weird move order. There's literally, you saw that there's literally like 4 games where this position's ever been reached after bishop a5. But it looks like b4 is a really bad move for black. This simple move might be good. He just doesn't have any counterplay. He's going to have to play f6. He didn't really nail it down right away. It looks like b4 is good. Clear advantage to white. Anyway, thanks for sharing, Princess Chess. That was interesting. I'd never seen that game. It's not in Smyslav's best games. But Tolish was an accomplished player. He was in a lot of the biggest tournaments of that era. So he beat all the top players at some point. Usually in the middle of the cross table somewhere. Mule Skinner. Mule Skinner is up next. Inbox. Mule. Skinning mules. Is that legal? Alright, I'm white against I am Perez Garcia Alejandro. A game from lichess 3+2 tournament yesterday. Met 3 IMs, lost 2. Had +7, one of the losses. And won this after mouse slipping a whole rook. Alright. Pasta Konata. Playing against Mule Skinner. 3+2. Mule Skinner most dangerous with e4 in the closed Sicilian. You're welcome, Princess Chess. Knight f3, d5. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being a subscriber on my stream. Thanks to all of you for sticking with me. Don't go to watch NASA. Bring your friends and family and force them to watch. g3, c5, bishop g2, knight f6, castle, knight c6, reverse Grunfeld. I like this for white too. But actually, Mule Skinner, it looks like cd4, knight d4, e5, knight c6, bc6, c4, and bishop e6 is black's best. Following Vache versus Anand. Anand is the man. You can analyze Anand, 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 or Anand if you play this variation. I trust Anand. I like to play the white side of the reverse Grunfeld, but this line probably equalizes. It probably equalizes. There's also an interesting move Ivan Isevich played, which is like the reverse Rook b1 variation. I guess it was played prior to that. Rook b8 is possible too. Ziadinov is rated 2249 now. What is he? He's not even that old. He's probably like late 60s. I mean, how is that possible? The guy became a GM. He's in his late 60s and he's 2249. I mean, are you like trying to qualify for some under 2250 prize or what? Even like if he's 70, that's still a little bit over the top. Alright, anyways, e6. Yeah, I mean, this is a Catalan. You're playing the black side of a Tarash now after, or Catalan after c4. So dc4 is a Catalan. cd4 is more like a Tarash usually. Your choice. cd4, knight d4, bishop c5. I've also played this with white. Knight b3. And I had this one game against the guy who played bishop b6. I think I faced bishop b6. Knight c3, and the guy took on c4. And I traded queens, and he like took with a bishop. Yeah, there's a Lev Albert Zaitchik game. I managed to beat this guy. It was an old 2300 who was down to 2100. I did manage to win this ending with white, like Lev. So bishop c5, it's a move, but I guess he's supposed to play bishop back to e7. Let's see, here. So this is probably correct. So you're just playing like a slightly unusual tower rush type formation. After CD5 now, see, you're playing an IM with black. I want to know, I want to see white prove an advantage after this. It's not that easy. Now you've got to be, white's got to be really well prepared, let's say. I'm really surprised knight c3 is the main move here. Wow. So let's check this out. Knight d5, knight c3. I would think something like a3 would be interesting. Take away the b4 square. But let's just check this out for a second. Knight c3, queen d8, check. Grishuk with white. Dude's playing for a draw with black. The Romanician is the master of the structure. Romanician. He loves himself a pawn on c3 with a b file. Bishop takes d8. Romanician. He's doing pretty okay there with 2 out of 3. It's not a lot of fun for black. Alright, anyway. So knight takes d5 was like the safe professional move. Not so easy to get more than half a point. You played e takes d. Alright, Prem, thanks for hanging out with us and being a subscriber. E takes d. Sort of like a kind of Tarash. Castle. I dare you to take my pawn. Now h6. Okay, the question is now what? What about rook e8? I mean, isn't that a constructive move? Can I make a constructive move, please? I know that, like, sometimes they do stuff like knight a4, knight c5. That's probably one of the best plans. You know, it's funny that this IM played the white side of a Tarash. I found one of the best ways to beat Muleskinner was to get him into structures like this. He likes closed games. So h6, bishop e3. Wells Arkle 2009 draw. Yeah, I mean, bishop f6, knight c5, queen e7, knight d5, bishop d5. Give me the pawn. And he never got it back. I don't like giving up the bishop here. I prefer your opponent's move. Also, bishop f4 might be a good square. e3 is a standard move. Wow. That's crazy. So you've transposed to a Ulf Anderson game with white. Bishop e3, queen d7, bishop c5. Oh, you played knight c5. Yeah, I mean, the strong players know this is the idea. It looks like maybe Muleskinner's opponent didn't know the subtlety there. But I mean, this is a very, very important idea. Bad bishop for a good bishop. Probably stronger than knight c5. You can generally trust Ulf to play the best move. I guess rook here or rook here. I'm not sure which one of these rook moves. Maybe you have to play rook d8 to keep the d5 pawn protected. But even Anderson couldn't win against a lesser GM, Marjanovic. So knight c5, okay. Unfortunately, there's no other option. Yeah, Mantis, I think it's not clear this late. We'll see. You can try to submit it. I'm not sure we'll have time. So Kanevarth played bishop d4. Kanevarth in his prime. I like bishop d4. Standard move. White is slightly better. This is also looks okay as long as black doesn't have d4. But he's letting you play bishop h3. One of the advantages of Kandivar's move is that it actually contains a threat to play bishop takes f6. So now after knight d4, queen d4, white's better. Black didn't have time to play bishop h3, so he played knight e4. That's a problem. Trading pieces. Bishop e3 looks like a mistake, and I don't understand. So he didn't get that much. Let's see what the engine says. Kandivar's move is second. Rook e1, very subtle. Trying to avoid the old bishop h3. You're cutting it close, though. I guess you got d5. So theoretically, rook e1 is the best move. Alright. Queen a4. This is a huge achievement for black to play bishop h3. So he basically... I like this position if the queens are off the board for white. And I get that exchange. I don't care. You know, but if the queens are on the board and you're playing bishop h3 and trading my bishop off, I'm not that happy. There's still danger here. There's white square counterplay. I know one common maneuver is knight h7, knight g5, but you can't do that because you're too pressured on d5. So queen f5. Perhaps now. Knight h7, knight g5. He went knight e4, also threatening knight g5, but he took. If you go here, could we have more than a draw with this move? Because I'm not liking that. This is my whole problem with the position where you allow bishop h3 and the queens are on the board. If the queens are off the board, white is just better in an endgame. But now, queens are on the board. Black's threatening knight g5. Hello. Okay, you better start like trying to trade queens with white or something before it's too late. But knight e4 allows this exchange, so black doesn't really have serious winning chances with those pieces exchanged. b5's a strange move. Can you play queen f3 check first? He's trying to get him to fall for queen f3. Maybe this is best, but b4. Bishop e1 gets my vote. Oh, you just hung a rook. Mouse slip. It was a mouse slip. I guess he was going to exchange rooks. I don't know what you should play, though. Can't you play rook, maybe like something with queen f3 check or rook d3? There's nothing there. We have rook d... Wow, that's crazy. What is going on? Dude. Can we play rook d3? That's what I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Rook station. It's an electric charging station for rooks. You can save money. Maybe that's best. So you really had knight e5. Okay, that's better. A charging station for knights. You're clearly better. Wow. So you had him paralyzed, and you just mouse slipped. But it looks like it's the knight move that's strong. Actually, white made a terrible mistake here. He should play bishop d4, right? Does that work? If he can play bishop d4, queen f3 check, king g1, knight d4. Probably white's holding on. But hypothetically, there's even this. So that looks kind of dangerous. The e3, man. Yeah, he's in trouble here. Bishop d4 is his best move. And Muleskinner was prepared to play rook d6, but he played bishop e1 instead. So let's see the game. Rook e6 mouse slip. A whole rook. Check. It's amazing you can win after hanging a rook. Obviously you don't want to trade queens. And then white was so excited. Played g4. Oh man. White had 8 seconds left. 17 seconds left. Allowing knight f3 check. And now king h1 or king f1. Wow. And white's winning. He didn't see the mate in one. Nice. Alright guys. So I got Sumahair and Sus. That's probably going to be it for today. A Mantis if I have time. Get your games in early. Alright, a Mantis is maybe last if we have time. Sumahair. Yeah, I mean, that was silly blunders of the 3-2 chess world. I hate this time control. 3-2, 3-0, 3 anything. Just produces garbage. Garbage in, garbage out, right? That's what computer programmers say. Blitz chess. Asterbait, I forgot you. Oh my god, dude, I'm sorry. We forgot you. Why didn't you say something? Asterbait, our VIP. Yeah, Asterbait versus Afrikaan. Afkar, whatever. Afghan wigs. Afkar. I'm going to turn off this graph because it biases me. So, the Italian game. Check out what Asterbait played, someone on sound. We'll let you VIPs. Asterbait played this in one of his games he showed me. Knight g5. What is this? That looks like something you would play. I was shocked. Like, he never played anything like that before. Not this time. d3. Bishop e7. Hungarian defense. I guess it's a Hungarian defense when black plays d6 soon. It's solid for black. And now a3. Wow. Okay. It's playable. Usually you would play a3 when you're aiming to play like knight c3 and not play c3. Not necessarily c3 and a3. This is really weird. Now he does b4. Wing gambit. Alright. So conventional wisdom is like, okay, b4 you're kind of weakening your queen side. It's all fine and good to play bishop e2, but where are you going to break it open? If white can't play d4 or f4 and break down black's center, then b4 looks kind of stupid to me. Here you have to... I don't know, it's like you're playing... it looks like you're playing like the Roy Lopez reversed or something. We're playing the black side of the Roy. Like, I guess. Not really, though, because black's bishop is not on b6 or something. I don't know. Whatever it is. b5 unprovoked. I don't get it. How is that a good move? You're driving his knight from its central station. Perhaps justified. Alright. So he should go back to b8. I guess he should go back to b8. Puts the knight on the side. A little bit of Grishuk. Napomniachtchi Grishuk from last year. It was the game where he got the knight on a5. It feels more active, but you better get it back in the game quickly. With knight b8, it's definitely going to be safe. Here, c6. Okay, he's trying to do something about his knight on a5. Protecting it, undermining b5, a4. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do about your knight on a5? Welcome to a5. How is he getting out of a5? That looks like a problem. Can black play a6? Is that a thing? No, looking at it in retrospect, maybe black should play a6. Any suggestions from the peanut gallery? I don't know. What does the oracle say? It's a question of a6 or c6, of course. You can't, but I mean, I bet knight a5 isn't as good as knight b8. Knight d4. Knight b8 is best. This allows our pawn structure to get dragged to d4. I don't like that. Strong point is gone. So this is the best move for black. Passive and good. Anyway. Knight a5, bishop a2, c6, a4. Okay. Maybe black can still play a6. Then you play what, like c4? Seriously. Masturbate. He's threatening your pawn here. You can't just give him that for free. I guess you have to play something that protects the b5 pawn. So Acer played this. Okay. But what does that have to do with this? Aren't we losing our b5 pawn? We're gonna find out. Oh no. Wow. Nice job. That's a nice job, man. The nifty trick. That's a nice tactic. So bishop d2, very nice. Targeting the knight on a5. Bang, bang. And then blunder. Bang. And then it's over. He can't take because of bishop f7. So he's getting tricky. He's got positional chess to back up his tactical genius. Black lost a piece and it's over. But that was a crafty trick. Usually a lot of Astrobates players just aren't of his caliber. I think this guy probably wasn't that bad of a player, but that is a kind of tricky trick. a5, bishop a3, it's over. It's over. I think you should play c4 so these pawns don't get out of control. It's only temporary about the bad bishop. Play c4. Don't let him start rolling his pawns over there. See, that's kind of annoying. Alright, you're still winning. Knight d5, b4, bishop b2. Really good play. And then a nice blockade with knight d2. You're becoming very positional. He still has a dangerous outside a pawn. I guess that's part of the reason why I wanted to play c4. So this wouldn't happen like a protected passed pawn on a3. You can't, you can't take the baby out of the man. He's still playing for tactics here with the long diagonal. Incorrigible. And now bishop h6. He misses long moves. Nope, not this time. This was a long one. Mate. And now bishop h6. Oof. Bishop f5. It's over. Piece down with the crushing attack. Bishop f6 takes. That's a nice white square bishop you've got on d5 there. So very clean win, Asterbate. Very, very clean win. What's your setup on loss? 20. 3 inaccuracies, no mistakes, no blunders. Solid. Okay. Next battle. We're going to go on to Sumaher. Correct? Sumaher submitted a game. Game analysis, please note it was 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute game. He was in bad time pressure. He called it hard time trouble. Alright. Oh, this is a good player. 2700 Blitz Grandmaster. Let's check it out. Check it out, Wendy. Thank you guys for being subscribers, staying with me. Please support the stream if you can. Donate a gift sub. Donate that man a gift sub. D4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3. Alright. So I've played the King's Indian a couple times against Sumaher. h3 is the best move statistically. But as I said earlier in the stream, playing space advantage positions is hard. It takes a lot of skill, especially against the Grandmaster. d6, okay, there's a lot of different ways to play with white here. Knight f3, bishop e3, bishop g5. This is a good choice. I guess I've played like knight a6 before. I played a horrible game against Miklos Galyash 3 years ago where I did like c6, which is the dumbest move ever. I don't really like this. a6 is interesting. Because a6 you could play c6 or c5 depending. That's, I think, a suggestion of Andy Soltis. Here we have knight c6, another approach which I'm not familiar with. Wow. Who is this player? Is it known? He's a non. I think he must be a Romanian Grandmaster. So this is a setup I've never seen anyone really play. Knight c6. It looks like a lot of people go for d5, which is Gawain Jones. Wait, Parlegras against who? Maybe we can figure out who this guy is. No. It's not a Romanian. Alright. Knight f3. Knight f3, knight e2, or d5. Queen d2 even, but queen d2, e5 I don't like. I don't want black getting e5 and a knight on d4. I don't think I like this move. I don't get it. I mean, e5, d5, knight d4, knight ge2, Lupulescu. I doubt this is that great for white. c5 the computer wants to play. What? Oh, for black. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, this is like a modern defense. Interesting. dc, knight c6. There's always the pawn sacrifice, like in the same-ish. Knight d4, pawn d4, bishop d4. I mean, I've seen the same position with f3 instead of h3. Wow, this is actually... It's possible this works. So that's an interesting line for him. I don't like queen d2. Okay, knight on g to e2. Seems better. He just plays, what, e5? d5? Wow. Kozak and some other random guys. So the point is to play knight d4, right? Yeah, you got two good players. So he didn't play that. That's really weird. It is a fast game. But I mean, black always wants to play knight d4 if they can. This is hinging on a pawn stack. So maybe you're wrong. You know, maybe knight e2 is bad. That's why you have to go here. If you don't play d5, he's going to hit you with e5 and knight d4. So it looks like knight f3, e5, same thing. So you have to go here yourself. This is the way to play. But it's not easy, probably. You know, it's easy for white to get overextended. Gawain Jones winning 2 games in Parleygrass of our weekend team battles. That looks like your better try. Alright. Anyways, it's playable. This is playable. So he goes there, though. I mean, now you have a good position, in my opinion. This is where I like offer a draw with black because I'm going to vomit if I have to keep playing this position for black. This is bad. And it's amazing because you look, there's 3 games and white didn't win a single one. I concur with the engine. Like, white is just better here. This is not good. You know, you're basically, you got a utopian position with white now. This is excellent. You're going to play knight g3. It's a very strong bind. He's messed this up. So c6 was played. That's the best move according to the computer, but I find those positions not that easy to play for black. This is perfect. And then he tries to play f5. I did lose once playing a position similar to this. There's no way this is okay for black. Which way do we take, first of all, with the pawn? Pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, rook takes, and it looks like one of Astrobate's like check Benoni's. Huge position for white. It's probably just winning. Black's king is like totally opened up. You can castle queenside. All your pieces are going to filter open on the G file. It's over. He could try some sort of crafty pawn sacrifice. They were talking about Geller earlier in the stream. What would Geller do? Geller would like go home to his wife or something at this point. If he was black, man. Geller is rolling over in his grave if he sees the way this King's Indian went for black. But I would seriously consider sacrificing a pawn. I mean, anything's better than that bishop on g7 being useless. Let's see what the oracle says. Yeah. I mean, e4 is up there in the top moves. Practical chess says play e4. I'm going to go for it at this point because I'm like strategically lost with black if I don't. He did that. You have many good moves. You might want to consider knight e4 here. Not only sitting on the square like Trojan, but you have that. This is over. This is over. This is a particularly bad move. Queen h4, bishop g5. Man, it's over. If knight f6, bishop g5 maybe. Trade the bishop and just kill him on the white squares. That's one option. Another option is here. Yeah, he's hosed. But it's like you have to have technique and finish him off. Rook f7, rook g1. I'm concerned about your king. And he goes into passive defense mode. I mean, you need to castle and get your other rook in the game. And get your king out of a vulnerable situation. Sometimes I think, we rush a little bit, but he got in time pressure. This is a bad move, probably. We don't really want to trade his bad bishop off on g7. You've got lots of good moves, though. This looks strong, and castles look strong. Either one of those two moves. But I guess knight e4 is pretty much devastating. I mean, is this just totally devastating? He'll have bishop f5. So what about our move order? What about bishop g5? Oof, is that over? That's over, right? You actually have knight e4. If bishop f5, bishop g5. And now what? Queen e8 or queen d7? Like, for example, knight f6 check looks really dodgy for black. Just winning. Yeah, I think he's gone here. So Sumihara played bishop h6, king h8, trades, and you lose most of your advantage now. This doesn't make your position better, rook to hg7. You actually lose control of the open file. You should play castles and keep control of this open file. You never coordinated your other rook in your castling position. Now you castled, but he's got a slightly better version. And now you can't get your rook over. So black sort of managed to hang on. And your advantage is maybe non-existent now. Structurally, you're worse. And I played this guy before, and he's very strong, very fast, and very strong positionally. He's going to kill you with this backward pawn on the f file. So far, black's been unable to get to the h file, and now you hung a rook. He missed it in time pressure, but he shouldn't. I mean, both sides have way too much time to be hanging rooks. There's almost a minute left. Rook d3, knight d7, rook g3. You snuck your rook to the g file with a hanging rook move. That was kind of tricky. I'm afraid it's going to grind you down with a better structure, but actually this is the problem now. The c7 pawn. And knight takes. Black lost the key pawn, and now he's in big trouble. His king needs to get over here to help slow down your pawns, and maybe go after the h pawn with his knight. But it looks like you're a little too fast. See, he's terrified of this. So he plays a6. And it's a close endgame. I don't know. You're better. Probably some sort of king to here, followed by b4 and avalanching the central pawns. White has good chances to win. Yeah, I like d2 better, but you had to hold the pawn, okay? Here. And either way, you're losing a pawn. Oh, man. Another bad move. They're both in time pressure. But obviously king c3. So my big question is, when he takes this pawn, can you hit him with c5? Because you're controlling the queening square. That's kind of a problem. I mean, I'm serious. This is a problem. White's starting c6, c7, c8. And after takes, it's lights out, right? I mean, d6 and no way to stop it. He has a way to stop it. Damn. Knight d4. And his king is close enough. Oh, that sucks. So he's still alive. You'd have to take this. And his king might be able to get up, and he might be able to save the game. It's a draw according to the engine. He picks off your pawn. That sucks. So it's a really close endgame, but time pressure is too hard. The actual game was king d2. Takes with check. Here. Takes there. And now he's got knight f5. So instead of c5, you had to play king e4. Boxing the knight out. And now you're down a pawn, but you're threatening the crushing c5. So in reality, black's actually lucky if he can survive here. His extra pawn has no chance to advance. The computer says that it's a draw, but I would rather be white. It takes technique and calm nerves to find that move. This was a mistake, and then you blundered. And it's amazing that this would be holdable. But he has his knight hanging and his pawn hanging. You want to stay in the square of this pawn. Now you should have played knight takes. Knight takes forking his pawns, and it's probably a draw. Now it's really hard. You missed knight d8. No, you got it. Okay. Here. And now you should take the pawn, but it's just blitz. Okay. So, what was the game? b5. This was the game. Oh no, that was the end of the game. That's unbelievable. This is unbelievable that this is winning for black. That's unbelievable. Whoa. And the guy has 13 seconds left? It's a table-based win? Wow. That's insane. In most cases, you know, this should be a draw. Your knight is in front of the pawn. That is a bizarre position. King f6. You bring your king back. He plays king f5. This is insane. The h-pawn, you know, it's the best pawn to have against the knight, because the knights have a hard time stopping pawns on the side of the board. But this is one of the most extreme examples I've ever seen. I would have thought it was a draw. You probably thought it was a draw. He might have thought it was a draw, but I'm not sure. So he's winning. Damn. With 11 seconds left. Check, and you can blockade from f1. But your king's going to go, his king's going to go here, here. I guess it doesn't matter what you play now. Can he win with king g2? No. Are you serious? He plays like the best move in this position. Knight d5. Using like 1 second. What is the time control? It's 3 plus 0. He plays knight d5 with 1 second. Knight e3 with 2 seconds in the move. Cover g4. So it's win. But it's insane that this guy can play that accurately. I had a game or two with him. I don't remember a draw. Maybe I beat him on time. Maybe I lost 1 or 2. But he is insanely fast. And I did notice he has good endgame technique. Yeah, forget about it. Alright, man. Crazy game. So, I gotta go soon. We got Summon on Sound. Thanks for staying with us. Maybe I'll just take a look at the last game very quickly. Summon on Sound versus Jim. Jim Mantra. Not our Jim. Cockatier, what, you've seen a position like this in De la Villa? Jesus de la Villa? I gotta stop talking like an American. Alright. Jesus de la Villa of Spain. España. So, he wrote an endgame book. Everybody likes that. Thanks, Fortuna Chess Coach. Yeah, embarrassing. Smith Mora. Waste of the white pieces. Yeah, whatever. Knight takes e3, e6, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, a6. Castles, knight and g to e7. So this is like one of the main lines that is considered kind of best for black. I always thought it was a little risky and awkward. Practically not that easy to play against a very skilled expert. So this is the only good move. And then there's this debate about f6 and h6. That's the thing. I mean, who knows which one of these moves is really better in the long run. h6, I saw the Elvis game. f6 weakens your king side now, or you can weaken it more with g5 later. I don't know which one of those moves I like better. Whatever. He plays f6, bishop e3. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's no sense in playing bishop f4, getting hit with a tempo. But that does have a good score, strangely. Kamran Shirazi, though. You know you're in trouble when you're playing his stuff. Alright, bishop e3. Knight g6. If Shirazi's smiling somewhere. Knight g6. Looks normal. And now you played queen e2. What was the time control here? 5+3 casual. So why do we need to play queen e2? Isn't the big thing for white like playing f4, f5? I guess we need to get the rook connected, right? But I mean, our main thing is a pawn break. So I'm right. I'm right as always. I didn't even look, but I'm not surprised. I feel like the main thing is playing for f4. So I agree, like why bother with queen e2? Let's just move the knight. And that's what scares me. Tears me up. It tears me up too. But it scares me when I'm black and they're starting to kick my embarrassing g6 knight. So this looks like it's critical. Someone in sound, are you aware of this? Like, is this something you've consciously thought about? Like, you like queen e2 better than the other moves? Even though white's never won a game with that move? You don't care? It's alright. MHG... MHG Shadow, I gotta go. We're just getting to the end of the stream. If you'd like to subscribe, I could do it next week. But we're unfortunately out of time here. So I'm just wrapping up the last games that have been submitted. But thank you for your interest. Seriously, someone on sound, yes, I thought I'd prefer to keep the tension in. The tension. The Smith-Morra is always riddled with tension. It's interesting the way you describe it as tension. I think of tension more like kind of as tension between pawns. You're talking about your obsession with not trading pieces. You mean tension in not trading pieces. I love pawns. I just want to get this. I just want to get this pawn going. You know, f4. My feeling is that white cannot win here with piece moves alone. You know, white can't make progress here with piece moves alone. You're going to have to use your pawns. So queen e2 seems like it's not to the heart of the matter, like the way knight d4 is. If you have to, then freaking play knight e1, you know, I don't care. If you really insist on not trading pieces, let's invent a new move, you know, the summon on sound variation. I refuse to trade pieces. I need to play f4 in this position. So if you insist on not trading pieces, let's just dispense with queen e2 and play knight e1 novelty. How about that? But I need to break with f4. That's my most important priority. You need to crack him with f4, f5 and play the Sozin on that diagonal. So this looks interesting. Does black have something? You know, there's always like b5, but it's time consuming, right? If he goes b5, you go bishop b3. If he goes knight a5, okay, here it comes. f4. And we're rolling. I don't know if it's good enough, but I would look at it like that. Let's see what you did. So queen e2, b5, no. Alright, you're still not going to make progress here without a pawn break. fd1, playing for cheapos, based on bishop takes e6. Queen c7. By the way, black is how strong? 1900. Black's about to get... He's going to find a way to lose without you making any pawn moves, just to prove me wrong. But he's playing kind of weirdly. b5. And now we're set up for the classic, like the worst possible knight d5 ever man has ever seen. Is that what you're telling me? He's literally walked into the most devastating knight d5 in the history of the Smith-Morra. He's like constructed the worst possible example of doing this. Yeah. What if he didn't give you knight d5 in a utopian manner? Bishop b7, kapling. That's a problem. Now we play queen d8. Okay. That's not a problem. It's over. So bishop b6 resigns. That was a quick one. Easy money. Bishop b6. And that's why the Smith-Morra wins by force. But black didn't know what he was doing, you know. I challenge you to play this position. I challenge you to play the exact same position after knight g6 against some kind of very strong player. 2100 plus, let's say. And we'll see what happens. I think you're going to have to make a pawn break. They're not going to commit harikiri, kiri, or whatever with this sort of formation. So, but anyway, it's very instructive how quickly black can lose without allowing a pawn break. How about knight e1? How about the knight e1 move? Bishop e3 isn't bad. The computer says knight d4 is number 1. But someone on sound doesn't like trading pieces. This is okay for a waiting move that's constructive, but it still doesn't involve a continuation plan. But I'm serious. What about this? How bad is this? I mean, for example, what would happen if we play bishop e3, black plays b5, and now white's turn? No one's ever played knight e1. I still think it's possible. Because all that matters is playing for f4, f5. And opening it up. And you also open up your queen, by the way. Reopening the queen on that diagonal. Anyway, I gotta go pretty soon, guys. So I'm gonna take a very, very quick look at this other game. Did we get to the end? Let's finish this game, though. We didn't show the game in all of its beauty. Wow, Michael Adams had the same position, and he played knight a4. Oh. Damn. Early Michael Adams with the cheapo. on b6. That's instructive. You didn't spot it. Black's setup was bad. So knight e5 is crushing. You win material decisively. Good God, man. Yeah, that's demoralizing. What do you call this? Like the flying buttress? That's sick, man. This guy like quit chess because of this game. How do you feel about that? He quit chess for the next 10 years. This is what happened here. Alright. Oh, what is that? What did Praying Mantis just put in the stream? My God, dude. What is that? What am I going to do with that? Can I copy and paste that? I gotta go, guys. We're going to try this. If it doesn't work, I'm out of here. No. Sorry. Alright, guys. I'm going to have to shut it down. I'm tired. It's late. You sent the PGN, yeah, but it doesn't work. It's got all those notes in it and stuff. That doesn't work. It's all messed up with crazy stuff in the analysis. I don't know what that is. Maybe I can find it somewhere. Hold on. Does that work? Is in the Rapid Swiss? Can I find a tournament? Maybe I can find it myself. Making things hard for me, man. Alright. Games. Advanced search. Ruslan. Dude, are you serious? It's gonna make me say the whole name, right? Alright, this is the game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, scotch, knight f6, takes. And then white played a very strange move here, knight c3. I never ever really saw anyone do that. Does this transpose to the 4-knight scotch? I don't know, I'm not that excited about bishop e4. Maybe I would go with d5. I don't really want to... I really don't want to give up my dark square bishop. I would prefer not to do that. So you don't have to. I just don't like this move as much as d5. It feels more correct to play this. If white exchanges were golden, there's no need to play bishop e4. Our bishop can go to like e7 or d6 in some lines. So, anyway, that's just my view. It's fine to play bishop e4. Now you transpose to the Scotch 4 knights, which is fine. So this is an unusual move. White should castle. It's a standard position. You have bishop c3 and knight e4. For one thing, we can try this. Play knight takes e4 and pin him. Pin it and win it. No, so that if anything happens with a g7 pawn, it's protected. Though I don't know if this is really the right way to play. I would give it a long thought. It looks like rook e8 might be more flexible. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're going to be back with Blitz tomorrow morning. Last game for today. So let's check it out. Check it out, Wendy. Is this possible? It looks a little over the top. Looks dangerous, but let's just see what the Oracle says. Loses, wins, unclear. Yeah, the line I gave. Queen e7, queen d4, f5. Yeah, it's like unclear. Pawn structure is not great, but black has some redeeming qualities here. So anyways, that's too fancy. You exchanged off your bishop here without doing that, though. I mean, that's why I didn't want to play bishop e4. That's why I don't want to play bishop e4. In the first place, we don't want to trade our dark square bishop off. There's no reason to do that. So bishop c3 is a mistake. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Rook e8. This is, okay, maybe better than knight e4. Does he have anything tactically? So he's going to have bishop g7, right? Maybe not. Queen g4. I'm not playing f3. Not for my life, not if you paid me $1 million. White can't play f3 here. Better to lose a pawn. I mean, just castle. Like, seriously, here, worst case scenario, I seriously doubt this is that much better for black. Right? I feel like I'm having this deja vu that I've analyzed this before. Rook takes, rook e1. Rook e1, queen e1, d6. Okay, but black is a pawn up, so he's a little better. Ops color bishops. Black has an advantage. So what should he do? I don't like f3. Computer likes f3 though. Wow. I can't believe it. I mean, it looks like d5 is good. So I would not have played this. I mean, it just looks like you're doing well getting in d5. I also would have misjudged this. Computer likes it for white. That's impressive. But he should castle, and he played queen e2. Apparently after castles, white is better. He does have a very strong dark square bishop. This is a huge mistake, making it worse. Yeah, I mean, so white structure's damaged, e4 is weak, your structure's damaged. I mean, you could play knight takes e4 here, right? It's much more complicated. No, it's not. And we have here. So you just have that. That's what happened. But you played bishop f5. So you have queen h4 immediately. I mean, it may well be a draw after this. It's probably a draw, objectively. So you play bishop f5, he should castle, and he's out, you know. The extra pawn is irrelevant. Fairly irrelevant. It's really not a big deal. Your pawn structure is horrible, and so your kingside majority doesn't mean that much. Your big mistake was trading your dark square bishop off. Any winning chances are limited after that. He needs a plan. There's no way he should have just taken this. He should have just taken the c2 pawn for nothing. I mean, white kind of went on autopilot there at some point. After this. This pawn should not be dropped. So whatever. I mean, queen f2. And white is fine. This is crazy to just like lose the c pawn for nothing. Now maybe black has something. 2 pawns up in an endgame, and then weakening himself with h4, trying for this attack. And your king is totally safe. Attacking another pawn, another pawn. Rook f7 was a threat. He has no threats against your king. And now it's probably very close to winning. If this pawn on g5 falls, I assume he's probably lost. Can you win that pawn? Yeah, I mean, the last chance is bishop d2. He cannot lose the g5 pawn. If he loses the g5 pawn, it's a 3-on-1 majority. It looks pretty easy to win. Can he hold the pawn with bishop d2? You have an extremely strong attack here. You're coming down with that and then bishop e4. I think white is lost. He's managed to get a lost position. But I mean, instead of this, maybe we can play like c5 or something. I would think you could probably like let him have the 7th rank and you're just winning anyway, like bishop e4. I really don't think white's going to survive there. So this defensive move is probably not necessary. Bishop f5. You need to get the g5 pawn to win. Now he grabs those pawns anyway, so it was all for nothing. It was totally all for nothing. The bishop f5 thing. A pawn, but you're too fast. So rook takes g2. Doesn't do anything. Black timed out, but I gotta go. Alright guys, thanks for joining. Subscriber game analysis is over. If you guys would like to analyze the game next week, join and subscribe to the stream. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for supporting the stream by subscribing, and we'll be back with Blitz tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thanks everybody. Thanks again. It's been my pleasure. To all of our VIPs, Acerbate, Summon on Sound, thanks to you guys. Particularly, I have left the building. Alright, have a great night. It's late here. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the morning. Get some rest. You're welcome. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.